Hey everyone, quick question for you. Have you ever wondered, why can't I win my games? Well, the answer could be simple. You probably don't know how to manage a wave. So, let me be Dr. Strom, and you can be Green Goblin, and I'm going to tell you we need to go back to formula. Holy smokes, that's a lot of information, but we'll talk about it quickly and thoroughly. There's 3 waves, A, B, and C. You can see that's the wave code. Next is what is in the wave, so you can see what the wave comprises of. Next is the perfect CS, so this means you kill all the minions by last hitting. Next is the not last hitting, so you miss every single minion in that wave. Next part is right here, so this is going to be a little complicated. So no last hit is your solo or mid player, last hit is solo or mid player, self and self, that's an ADC, and ally last hit, that's support. And the columns are the gold worth. So for example, melee, if you don't last hit, it's worth 26 gold. If you last hit, it's worth 65 gold. If you're an ADC and you do not last hit it, it's worth 13 gold. If you do last hit it, it's worth 65 gold. And as a support, it's worth 33 gold if your ADC does manage to hit it. Now you can read that. The only difference is tower plate. Now tower plates only last until 7 minutes. If you're alone, it's worth 150 per plate. And if you are together, it's worth 75. Okay, up next is the schedule of the game. I broke it down into 4 parts: the early phase, the objective phase, the middle phase, and the late phase. It's broken down into how fast the interval between waves changes. Now, for example, early phase, the pattern for the waves is AAB, AAB, and all intervals are 25 seconds. So, I've been telling all of this for like 2 minutes now, and you're like, what the heck is the point of knowing all of this? Well, it's important for you to know what wave you're going to recall at. See, a lot of people think wave management is just good farming. That's not the case. That is just good farming. It's not wave management. There's 3 really big aspects when it comes to wave management. The first one, we'll call it the freeze. Poor little dude. The second one, we'll call it the slow push. Look at him go. And the last one, we'll call it the fast push. And I know I am giving you guys a lot of information, and thanks for sticking with me. I know it's been 2.5 minutes, and I still haven't told you what we're doing with this. And I commend you guys for waiting so much. But I promise you, at the end of this video, you'll understand. Just to summarize, we've talked about this whole thing. You can read it, you can understand it. Fantastic. What's the point? Well, the point is for you to time your recalls better than you've done before. So pop quiz, kiddos. What wave would you want to recall at in the early phase? When it lands on A or when it lands on B? And why? The same for objective phase and middle phase. Would you want to wait for A or B? And then why? And lastly, where would you want your wave to be when you're recalling? Now, I can give you the answers, or you can say I know this, and if you do, fantastic. Thanks for watching anyway. Before I give you the answer, I want to give you guys some general knowledge tips. I'm going to pause it once it hits 0 seconds and I get out of the menu. The question is, if your minions are in between, your inhibitor tower and your second tier tower, where are the enemy minions? Do you know this? How would you know this? This answer is simple. They are in the exact opposite or mirrored image of where your minions are. Now, a lot of high elo players, or really smart players, or people who know how to manage the wave properly understand this general concept really easily, because you can time your recalls correctly. If you know your waves are going to crash in 2 seconds, you probably don't want to recall, but if you know they're in this neutral phase where they'll crash in 10 seconds, you have that time to recall to not lose any farm. Now, if you understand this, and you understand the ebb and flow of a normal minion wave without interactions with a champion, feel free to go on to the next chapter. If you still don't, or if you still want to know how minion waves behave, feel free to look at this. It's going to be a 3 or 4 minute video of just watching minions beat the heck out of each other, and you're going to see how they force the push and how it kind of goes back and forth. And once you see how the minions interact with each other, then you'll slowly start to grasp the concept of how a slow push and how a fast push looks like. And you'll notice, slowly but surely, that the red minions are starting to overpower the blue minions. Like here you'll see that the caster minions on the blue side are less HP than the minions on the red side. That means when this next wave crashes, the red minions will take out the blue minions faster. And faster means that it will slowly start to push against that lane, or against that force. And you'll notice that even without a champion hitting them on either side, one side starts to push out against the other one. And oh no, it looks like the blue minions are starting to overpower the red minions, so the tables have turned. Let's go back in time to understand why this happened. Why did the tables really turn? As you can see, the blue minion that's going to the top side of the map versus the red minion that's going to the bottom side of the map hits the red caster minion faster. The second thing that happens is that the blue cannon minion hits the first shot faster than the red cannon minion does. This means that the blue side has the priority of killing minions faster than the red side does. And this is an interesting concept to think about if you want to divide your lane into three parts, which is the neutral, which is the middle, the blue side, and the red side. If you look back, you can slowly see that the minion wave creeped towards the blue side, which is why the blue minions crashed faster. It was because it was more towards the blue side versus the red side or the middle. I'm going to fast forward this, and you will slowly see the blue minions just insanely overpower the red minions. As of right now, you have 2 cannons, which is already insane enough. And what you're going to see happen is that this massive blue minion wave is going to crash into the turret. And even though there's red minions there defending it, the next wave is already ready to go. And we even got a play without me even doing anything. And it's still hitting the turret. It's crazy. But now that the minions are gone, red minions crash into the blue side turret. And you're slowly going to see it happen again. The blue minions are going to slowly overpower the red minions. And then the blue minions are going to start a slow push. And so on and so forth. And this is the way the wave works. Minions are extremely overpowering, and you may have noticed in some of your games, sometimes you decide to ignore minions, and they just start taking turrets, like they don't even care. And so the next question is, how am I supposed to implement this in my games? Champions aren't going to let minions push themselves. Well, they do. You know, this is why it happens sometimes. But if you knew how the wave works already as well, awesome. If you don't, keep on watching. What I'm going to do next is log into a bot match, me versus Fiora in the middle lane. And my goal here is not to kill Fiora, but it's to focus on proper wave management. So I may do some things that I won't normally do in my games, but this is just for you guys to see what it looks like. And if you know this, you're more than welcome to go on to the next video, which is application of these mechanics against a real life person versus an AI. So how do I get an advantage here? Well, as you saw, I dragged one of Fiora's melee minions towards the back line, and Fiora still is aimlessly auto-attacking my minions, which means that this wave will push into the blue side. Now, I know I can't beat Fiora in a 1v1 duel in the early levels, so I'm just letting her push into me. So it looks like I'm at a disadvantage right now, but this is where I want to be. And I can farm freely under the tower. If she wants to dive me, then she's more than welcome to. She'll take turret shots, and I'll heal up with my first ability. And still, she's auto-attacking the blue minions, so that means that the red minions are going to push into me. The one thing I am making sure is that the red minions always have more health than the blue minions. And I was going to kill her there, but I decided not to until she turret dived me. Once she dies, I'm going to set up a slow push by making sure I kill the minions at the last possible second. Had I recalled here, without killing the minions, the red minions would probably push into my turret, making me lose gold. The hardest part to discuss is the death timer, the fact that you can take advantage of that, because in practice mode, neither Fiora or I have death timers. But that's okay, I can still show you guys what a slow push looks like. As you notice that I use my third ability to make sure I only hit the minion I want to kill and not any other. You don't want collateral damage. And you see Fiora doing what a lot of people do, which is still aimlessly attacking the blue minions to push, and she's not in a position that push would make sense for her. So what I'm going to try to do is force a push onto her. I will use my third ability to hit both minions and her, and auto attack both minions to make sure I get that gold, and slowly push into her turret. If she stays until I'm level 5, I will all in her. If this was a normal game. Since this is just showing you guys what managing the wave looks like, I will not all in her. However, you can see the potential right there. The one thing I want to show you guys, right, is controlling the wave, how this looks like, what the slow push looks like, and the advantage of having one. And here you'll see that the minions have successfully crashed against the turret. She has to back off. She is barely level 4, barely any health, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make sure that my minions crash into the turret. I'm not attacking the turret, I'm making sure I take care of the minions first, so my minions can get all into the center of the turret. And this is probably the biggest thing that people make a mistake on when they want to do a cheesy recall or a free recall or whatever you want to call it. If your minions are not going to take damage from the turret, what you're going to start is a slow push against you, or if the enemy champions are smart, they'll just leave it there, let it slow push or freeze even, and then you are at a disadvantage. As of right now, Fiora is stuck in deciding, should I recall, save my health, or try to farm? Obviously, a lot of people want to farm because gold is really important. What I can do is I can punish her. She's still under the turret, but I am safe enough that I can all in her if I want to. And this is not something crazy, nothing mechanically amazing that I do. I spin on her, I think I ignite her, and I just walk away, and that's it. Like, nothing crazy there. Anyone can do it. The only difference is that look at all the gold she lost. She lost 2 melee minions, a cannon minion, and a caster minion. But before I recall, right, this is obviously practice, so they have 0 cooldowns of death, but usually they have at least 5 or 10 seconds. What I want to do is make sure that remember, the minions are crashing into the turret. Now I'm going to recall, and we're going to take a look to see how many minions I lose when I get back to lane. Now remember, you can always cheese it by knowing where your minions are is where the enemy's minions are. So my minions are just passing the turret, so their minions are just passing the turret. There's no fog of war here because I turned it off, but as you can see, I did not lose a single minion. Now onto the second phase. I have an advantage. So now every time Fiora tries to get some sort of gold, I will punish her for it. She wants to hit my cannon, I'm going to hit her first. See, look at all the health she's losing just by trying to farm 1 minion. And of course, any player, in a real game, I probably would all in her. But that's not the point of this. Remember, the point of this is to control the wave. Although I was poking her, she is still losing minions. But I know that she has to recall now. She is not in a safe space, so I'm going to force a hard push into her turret, take her honey fruit, which, again, does happen in game. So this isn't just something an AI can or can't do. It just happens. And I'm making sure she cannot farm at all. She is losing a lot of gold. She got 1, but you know, that's 1 out of like 6 that she lost. And right there I was thinking maybe I should spin on her, but remember, this is all for educational purposes. And people do stick around until they die. Even I do that, right? Like sometimes I'm so greedy that I don't remember that I can die to something quick and easy. And you see, I'm not forcing this push. I'm making her decide, do I want to stay in this lane to farm some more, or should I recall? She overstays her welcome, spin, auto attack. I was going to ignite her, but she died to a critical. Easy as that. Now, many people would just recall here, but what I want to do is I want to make sure, again, to crash this into turret. So if she does come back, which of course she has 0 death timer, assuming in real life they didn't have a death timer, all these minions would be dead to the turret before they get back to lane. And in this case, I just kind of got upset that she came back so fast that I couldn't tell you guys anything, so I killed her anyway. And now we're going to pretend that the lane got crashed into the turret, and I'll make sure that cannon minion is dead to make sure she doesn't start a slow push, and I'm going to leave. She's still here, but I can recall pretty much freely here. And you'll see that the turret is taking its time to kill these minions. There's so many of them that it takes so long that I can recall, get my item, walk back to lane, and I probably don't miss a single minion again. Now you may be wondering why I chose to do this versus a PvP game. The difference is that it's so much easier to do a kind of showing you what these different pushes look like against an AI versus a human being, because there's a 5v5, there's ganks involved, there's a lot of more nuances. So this is pretty much the most basic understanding of how you can manage a wave. I will be ending this video soon. The only thing I want to let you guys know is that you can see that I am not trying to force an all-in. Even though I'm 3-0, I have my ultimate ready. She can do whatever she wants. The only thing that matters to me is the wave. And again, I could have flashed and killed her there, but I decided not to. Right? The whole point of this specific game was to show you guys how managing a wave can lead to easy kills. The last thing I want to tell you guys about is you have to remember that certain champions and certain abilities and certain items have area of effect. So it makes managing a wave a little difficult. For example, Trinimir's spin, I can do a lot of damage to multiple enemies, but I can choose it to hit one target. The tricky part is using Static Shiv, which shoots a pulse of electricity to multiple enemies, like for example right here, hits all of them. Tristana's rocket Jinx's rocket launcher, things like that will do multiple damage to multiple targets, so it's a little trickier. So be mindful when you're farming and trying to manage a wave that can be the little tricky thing. Then maybe you're having difficulty managing the wave because you use those types of champions. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. I am very happy to be back. I will talk to you all soon. I look forward to the comments. Bye, everyone.